So yes, we're finally back to black. Thomas Love private investigation, trying to understand why they said we might not see a Leica Q3 monochrome anytime soon. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from Sanremo, Italia, and today we're gonna talk about this Leica Q3 monochrome because we are all waiting for that, but it's already August and nobody ever announced it. But then Leica Rumors with this latest news about the Leica Q3 with a different focal length. We're talking about the 43mm, we discussed it already. If you missed the episode, please find it up here. They said, it's not official yet, but we might not see a Leica Q3 monochrome, and I'm starting digging. I feel like the Magnum, despite I don't have a mustache and I don't live in Hawaii. Anyway, I'm start digging because I want to understand if that is a possibility, because we Leica users, we are a bit old and we live out on our habits, and we know that for every new Leica M release we are to expect the monochrome, the P, the R, the D version, and then for what is the Q lineup we are expecting a monochrome version, and then eventually some limited editions here and there when it's about the end of the life cycle. While with this Leica Q3 getting a new focal length and no monochrome, well, it's a bit of a hit, because we all know that the Leica Q only has one major flaw, which is the low light shooting, and that the monochrome puts a great patch onto that flaw, because with monochrome you gain 1.5 f-stops luminance when you're shooting, despite there is no other real gain apart from the high ISO sensitivity, which is increased, and therefore the low light conditions. And so we were all waiting for the Leica Q3 monochrome, and I was following the updates and I found out this thing on the Leica Rumors, but that's the only website that mentions this Q3 monochrome so far. People are waiting for it. In the Leica forum there are like already 8 pages discussions whether it's a good or a bad thing, and if you want to follow you can. And I started digging, because I realized that the Leica Q2 monochrome was at the top level. It's the peak of the monochrome development, because it has the same good Samilux glass you might have on any Leica M monochrome, but in addition to that you get optical image stabilization, weather sealing and autofocusing, which we might or might not need, but the autofocus contrast base, which is in the Leica Q2, it was developed further and further along the year, so it has and it benefits from refinements, and so it's spot on, it's behaving very well. So that some people, some users out there say that the AF contrast base in the Q2 is behaving better than the phase detect in the Q3. I still have to find out if this is true or not, because I don't own a Q3, I only own a Q2. But apart from that, guys, we are talking about the Q3 monochrome because we all wanted to benefit from the new sensor, 60, 36 or 18 megapixel condition shooting, and the phase detect that comes from Lumix. And so I started digging and I found a couple websites where they can do the physical transformation and conversion of the color shooting camera you have in your hands. Most of the time it's a Sony, they convert very easily, but they can do it with almost any camera, and remove the CFA layer, meaning the Bayesian filter for certain cameras, or the Express if it's a Fuji, or the X-Cross if it's a Fuji, or X, however they call it. Anyway, they remove the CFA layer, and with that they say if you have a phase detect camera, you will lose the phase detect capabilities in your cameras, while if it's a contrast-based autofocusing, you will keep benefiting from it. The only thread that I found in a different forum is that only the Pentax K1 will preserve the phase detect when you're removing the CFA filter, and so the hypothesis that I'm developing here is that I'm not technical on the phase detect. So if you have more technical information, please share them here. Let me know down here in the comments so we can all dig and benefit from your experience. But the hypothesis that I developed is that the CFA layer is needed for a phase detect autofocusing mechanism. I only found pieces of information here and there. The only information that I found was in another forum where they said that they use filtering on green, especially on the green layers, to know if it's front-facing or back-facing the focusing mechanism. So if you know how phase detect works, is that basically it's like a rangefinder. They have to overlay two different images, and this is what tells the camera if it's front focusing or back focusing, because otherwise, if it's a contrast base, it would have to be hunting on all the range to understand if they have to move the lens towards the front or the back. And so the only information that I got is that, and it is enough to me to think that phase detect needs color. And so basically, if a Q3 without phase detect is released, basically you're having a Q2 with just 60 megapixels. And so with anything that this might mean. And the 60 megapixel sensor in Leica, basically it's used in the Leica M line with no autofocusing at all, or in the Leica Q with phase detect, or in the Lumix with phase detect. And so they would have eventually to develop a contrast-based autofocusing for this Q3 monochrome if they want to hit the market with that. Now, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if they are able to do it because, you know, Leica doesn't produce their own sensors. They buy them elsewhere. And then the phase detect was taken from the development that happened in Panasonic, and so they benefited from this alliance. But Leica, they don't make the sensors and they didn't work on the phase detect autofocusing. So this might be a valid chance, thinking that the Leica Q3 monochrome would not add anything to the Q2 monochrome that has been refined already for a few years, that has already 47 megapixels, which is plenty, that has already a solid construction. We're talking about a camera that feels like a brick in your hands. It's so very solid and resistant. And so this Q3, big question mark, Q3 monochrome, is it coming or is it not coming? So let me know down here in the comments what are your takeouts, if you have more information about this release, if you have more information about how the phase detect works, so we can all start the discussion and wait together for the announcement or not of this Leica Q3 monochrome. Probably we're only having the new Leica Q3 with a 43mm f2 APO glass, which we discussed already in the former episode. So guys, I am so thrilled about this thing because I'm excited when I have to go and scout and look for pieces of information and put them all together. So stay tuned because I will update on this channel episode by episode as soon as I get more information, or if I gather, or if I see any news from Leica Rumors or from any other trustable source. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any videos to come, and I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.